All right, folks, have you ever wanted to build a curved door and jamb from scratch? Yes? You're crazy and a bit of a masochist. But hey, so am I. So here's what we're gonna do today. Last you saw this shed, I had finished the framing, roofing, and siding. We're finishing it off completely today, and as you can see, we're a bit behind on videos. Whoops. This shed is now finished. First, we're making the curved jamb. To do this, I computer modeled what a 48-inch wide arc should be and cut it into triangles. There's a bunch of math that goes into this, but that's boring, so let's just skip it all. Ultimately, I needed 10 segments with a 9-degree angle on both sides to make a 180-degree circle. Trust me, I'm a DIYer. The way this works is this piece is 48 inches long, because that's the way that maths. And so what you're looking at doing is arranging this in an arc. Do your math. If you do 9 plus 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 9 over and over and over, you'll get 180 degrees. So this makes a perfect circle. So see how that doesn't fit and you're like, what the heck? So it just never will. I don't know why. This is what you're aiming for. So what you want to do is take all of these, line them up end to end so that all of the tail or all of the cut ends are touching. Okay, we're going to take some tape. Now, I would use 2-inch tape, but my 2-inch tape is not cooperating right now, so I'm going to use 2 layers. So we got to flip it up like this. This tape is not cooperating either. So what this is going to do is it's going to hold the outside edge as you bend it into your arc. So we're going to take some waterproof glue and dump it down into each of these sections. Now you have a time limit on this, flip it up and you can flex them. And then we're gonna go here. So this board is sized for this specific application. Take a brad nailer and I'm just gonna put a couple brad nails in it. So they're lining up pretty well. So now I'm just gonna take any old ratchet strap, throw it around. Now I need to do a check. This should be 24 inches to here. So this is what I did yesterday. So we'll let the glue set on these and then come back and we're gonna router these edges. So looking at the diagram, we're gonna work on the trim for the door. And so we need to cut the same thing. We need to cut 10 at 8 3/4 long, and then 9-degree bevels on either side. And if we cut 10 of those, they should fit into an arch the same way, and that'll be our trim once we router it. I have some 1x6 here that we're gonna use for this. It's not bad, not great. It's 1x6, but just stuff you can buy at Home Depot. So the better you can make this, the better your board's gonna line up. So I rigged up a stop, just a board clamped down to the table and to the saw. Let's just do a check to see if that's the right size. So I need 10 of these. So then you can just flip it. Line it back up with the edge. 2, flip. 3, 4, 5, 7, 4. Okay, for this, I'm gonna use what's called a biscuit joiner. So I'm gonna cut a slot in each one of these to put a little wooden, like half moon, well, I don't know what you need, football, a little wooden, like flat football into each one of these. That way, when I glue this up, it'll get a little bit more strength in it than just having it be a glue joint. And then the idea is that you take the biscuit, stick it in there with glue, and you just fit together. I am now going to arrange these and glue this together. Okay, I threw the band clamp on it, got it clamped up. 45 minutes later, we're gonna pop this out because I need this table back. All right, there we go. But this should overlap. We attached this to a piece of OSB, drove a couple screws in here, Put a couple screws up in here. This is just to hold it a little bit more rigid so that we can use this as a center point to do our arc. I have a router sled set up. So I'm gonna measure from this edge here to a point. I'm gonna drill a hole and use a screw to put in the center there. And so it'll rotate around that screw, can cut the outside diameter. Now, enough screwing around, let's give this a shot. Okay, so I'm just gonna repeat that a couple more times, getting it deeper and deeper and deeper. I reset this to cut the 22.5 inside diameter. So I'm gonna set this at a 1/4 of an inch depth. We're gonna run around the circle and see what it looks like. What I might do is take this guy, which I took back to the house and tested on the shed and it works fine. I might take this and offset it, and then that might give me a little bit more strength. Okay, so one thing I don't own is a whole bunch of 6-inch clamps. So what I did is I drilled a bunch of holes, some pilot holes through this. I'll drive through screws through these to screw these two halves together. It'll just make my life easier. Okay, so I only get one shot at this, so I'm gonna line this up the best that I can. Let's start on this side. Okay. There we go. All right, so now I have an offcut. So hypothetically, so here I am just routering the outside of the edge using a 2-inch template bit. I glued the two rounded edges together so that I can do this on both inside and outside edges of both sides of the jamb. Once that's done, I can use the table saw to cut the jamb to width. Okay, so this is all finished being routed out now. I also went and cut some skinny pieces of pine. So the idea behind this is it's gonna form the back of our jamb, bend this with glue around here. I could have done the whole jamb doing bent lamination like this, and I think it probably would have been faster overall. I wanted to do the most easily accessible method, but then with all the routering, it made it really annoying and difficult, which is perfect because I think my wife would agree that that's what I am, annoying and difficult. So it makes sense. Okay, so I trimmed this up, I pulled the clamps off, and I just used hand plane to dress it down. I think it looks pretty darn nice. We need the straight parts of the jamb next, which is easy enough. They're cut down, rabbited to the top arch, and then finally attached to the curved section using mending plates on the back side for strength. Okay, we're back on the curved frame. I have done a little bit of filling over here, some of my mistakes, and so now I need to put on the arched frame, something like this. I need to router this inside edge here and this outside edge here to final dimensions. It's split on this side. I am gonna fix that by gluing and nailing it to this frame, and then I'll use this to attach it to the shed itself. Let's figure out a way to router this out. Once all this dries, I'll give it a sand, finish all the edges, get it ready to go. Stain this up. I'll figure out how to mount this door, which is gonna be just a giant pain in the ass. All right, let's get started on this actual door. I use this as a block for gluing the door frame together. So there's zero clearance all around it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put an 1/8 of an inch around the whole thing. So I need to cut that arc an 1/8 of an inch less, use my jig on the router to cut the arch. cut the sides with the track saw, cut the bottom with the track saw. Then we're going to be able to slap a piece of plywood on it. Cut it with the router and the track saw. I may double up the recesses. And then we should be good to go. That would have made a perfectly fine shed door, but to make it more extra, I'm gonna cut some trim to make it look like a frame and panel door. These pieces will just be glued and nailed to the panel sandwich, which, by the way, makes this door a super heavy beast. It's gonna be real fun to install. So on the smart side, this transparent stain actually does really well. If you brush it out properly, what happens is it falls off of the top of the wood grain into the crevices, into the bottom of the wood grain, and it gives a really nice wood look on it. What you have to do is you have to come back for a second coat because it falls off a little bit too much, so it's really orangey. But I find that a really super heavy coat works the best. And then instead of leaving it alone, go back and give it another wipe when it's almost dry or when it's like setting up dry. And try and keep your brush strokes going with the grain. And it looks a lot better. So even though people say you can't do this, you can, and I did a test piece and then I did an abrasion test where I tried to scratch off the finish, and it adheres just as well as paint does. So I'm happy to try this, and I'll give you some long-term impressions once I have them. This might actually be enough finish to do this whole door. All right, so here's why you go back and back brush it later. So you can see that the tops of this, the finish isn't sticking 100% to the tops of the wood grain. It's because it doesn't absorb in, so the pigment falls down. So if you go back when this gets a little bit tacky, you can rebrush that area, bring the pigment to the top. Or if you want to do a second coat on this, leave it like this, brush another coat over the top, because some of the clear finish stays on the top of there, and then it gets a way better bite on your second coat. But this back side of the door, I am not going to give a second coat, at least not right now, maybe next year after the snow passes. And then what I can do is just even this out a tiny bit more. This is fine for what I want for the inside of the shed. But what I'm going to do is, I did those yesterday, I'm going to go back and brush another coat on the double doors because they're the exterior of it, and it'll just look a little bit nicer. Okay, so we have a fully completed and stained front door jamb. This has 2 coats on it. I'm actually really happy with this. I'm happy with how it sanded out. Turned out really nice. We have the side door jamb. I don't have the front trim for this because I don't actually know what it's going to be, so I'm going to have to do that afterwards, which sucks. We have the back of the front door. The other side's real nice. We have one of the double doors for the sides. The other double door is over here. Those are all stained up. All the hinge pockets have been cut. I cut those off camera. They're nothing terribly special. I still have to cut the hinge pockets for this. I'm still waiting on hardware for all of this except hinges. But I'm quite happy with these. It was a lot of work. I could have made a very much simpler door, but I'm happy with these. So next you'll see these. They'll be all assembled and ready to go on the shed. So next time you see all of these, they're going to be all assembled, all on the jambs, and at the house, ready to go on the shed. We're back. We tempted fate. We're doing a shed in the fall and winter. in Canada, so this is what we got. We got about 6 inches of snow. So we got to get all the corner trims on here, and I have all the doors finished that you just saw me put together. So we're gonna get those mounted so that I can get this locked up, so I can get the stuff out of that shed and into this one so that I can call it a day on this whole project. So we're gonna try and get everything locked up today. We may or may not succeed, but that's where we're going for, and then I'll do the interior at a later date. It warmed up a little bit. It was about minus 13 Celsius this morning. It's sitting around -2 right now, so we'll see where we get to. Since this whole thing is a concept and I never actually pre-fit these, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them up with a brad nailer and then come back, look at it from far away and see what I think. Now it definitely needs the upper trim. I was talking about putting a almost timber frame truss up in here. I was waffling on whether I had to do it or not, but I think it's needed. But I think this makes it a lot more chalet. I got told it looked like a country church house, which, yeah, I can see it. So I'm gonna try and do this without getting all that snow dumped on my head. This roofing is incredibly slippery. So if I bang it too hard, it starts falling. But I'm gonna get the rest of these on, then I'm gonna go get the doors, and I will see you guys when the doors are back. Ready? Does it fit? Holy crap, it fits. That's fortunate. So it is a pretty nice fit all the way around. It gets off a little bit at the top, but it isn't on the sides. But that's fine. It's gonna get some flashing up on top of there anyway. So I just have some cedar shims that I'm gonna use back to back. I'm falling. Okay, how's that? All right, so these are in. And I'm quite happy with them. So this one bounces a little bit, so I'm gonna need to space out these hinges. They're hitting the jamb. Not too big a deal, but I'm quite happy with this overall. It looks really good. Ready? Okay, so I'm gonna put this up in here. You need to slide the pin down in it. All right, so my camera died during this process. You didn't get to see us struggle putting this door on because it weighs a bajillion pounds, but it is quite nice, and it actually shuts. So I have a lock set for it. Every good shed deserves an incredibly expensive front door lock set, but it was on sale, so I figured that it's cheap. It wasn't cheap.
One eternity later.
All right, guys, as you can see, it's spring and we are done. I'm calling this done. We finished some of the trim off to the side. All the doors are in, all of them are trimmed. They're all shimmed, they're all working. So this shed is now finished. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll put together a compilation of the whole shed build in one video, but I will see you on the next one where we're going to be tackling a path from the deck here back to the back walkway.